Finless Bob back here. If you didn't watch the Foggy Flight, you might, because if you're interested in the tuning video, it's related to the tuning video, as I said in my commentary on that. We started out flying in the fog, became sunny and warm, had to retune the motor, decided to do a tuning video. So this video will be the tuning video with Tim Jones tuning the motor and talking about how to tune, what to look for, setting the high, setting the mid, all that kind of stuff. Again, if you're watching this video and you didn't see the first one with the Foggy Flight, you don't have to go see it to understand the tuning, but it's definitely interesting. So either way, here is the tuning video. So Tim, what are we doing today?
A little tuning 101.
Okay, so this morning I shot you flying that thing in the fog, and it was kind of moist, and
yeah.
So we're gonna retune now because the weather's changed, right?
That's right.
Cool.
So I'm gonna take you through kind of like just a general guideline of tuning, as far as I would say the best average overall way of doing it. I'm gonna show you how we do that, and then I'm gonna go into my own personal tuning procedure for my own flying style.
Cool.
All right.
So what
we're going to do here, we got to get the high needle set first. That needle is going to control overall fuel flow to the engine. So in order to do so, I got to do a climb out and do it for about 200 feet to get it saturated on the high needle. So
and what are we looking for on a climb out?
We're looking, initially, we always want to tune rich to lean. So we want it to be rich. So we'll see what it does. See how it's just really smoky?
Yeah, real smoky.
See that continues to be
dense smoke.
Very dense smoke. Okay, now they're always going to be like that when they're cold, so I do a couple climb outs, get some heat in the motor, go back and forth,
warm it up,
and you can see right there, that's about all she's got heat wise, and it's just rich. It's just really rich. So we're going to come down here, and I usually always tune about 3 clicks at a time. You know,
really? 3 at a time?
3 at a time. You know, the thing is, you got to find where you are. You
so
we know we're rich now.
So you know you're super rich, so 3 clicks, but if you don't know what you're doing, then maybe 1 click at a time.
No, I don't suggest that, because you're never going to find where you're at. See, the problem is then you kind of get the placebo effect. You think it did something, you don't really know. You really need to make a change. And if it goes lean, listen for the leanness, and when it is there, just back off the throttle, go to neutral collective. You're not going to hurt your motor whatsoever. If you continue to fly like that, you will.
Sure.
But,
so
I mean,
one pump up isn't going to burn up your motor, but unless you're like no smoke and it's...
Unless you're no smoke and you just stay on the sticks, then yeah, your motor's going to suffer.
All right, cool.
But, so now we're going to put 3 clicks in it. We got to find lean. Right now you saw super rich, we got to find lean.
All right, so again, we're doing the high needle, so you leaned it up.
Leaned it up 3 clicks now, and we're going to do another climb out here, and we're going to see if the motor's cleaned up.
Still looks pretty smoky.
It's still smoky. It's much better, but it's still smoky. So we'll come back. We're gonna do a couple more.
All right. So how many more clicks you go?
I just went in 2 more. So, and in order to really see the high end, we need to eliminate the mid-range mixture, meaning that we need to stay full throttle for quite a bit of time.
What, blow the motor out, right?
Yeah, you gotta clean the motor out and get on just that needle.
Looking better.
That's about right there. I can tell you from experience that we're close. I would stop personally right now, because I know where the motor is and I've flown it a lot. But I'm just gonna show you, you know, if you're somewhat new at this, or this is just kind of a new procedure to you, this is what I would do. We go in a couple more, find lean. Okay, so we're gonna do that.
All right. Couple more. So another thing, just like from this morning, just because you're tuned right now and today doesn't mean that you just leave the needles there all the time, especially if you're trying for performance. You may have to adjust.
When you're tuning for the fine edge, once we go through this process, when we get the needles synced, so to speak, we're going to get into that here in a minute. You can typically go to any field as long as you're a reasonable elevation change, you know, 300-400 feet or less. You can get away with 1 click or the other. It may be on the needle. You know, you always got to remember, when it's cold outside, you got to run richer. When it's hot outside, you got to lean it up.
Yep.
And the lower or the better air density you have, the better the motor's going to run, the richer it's going to run.
Sure, you got more air in the fuel mix.
You got more air, so you need more fuel. So here we go. This should be right on the edge of lean on the high end. Okay, so let me find out. I can hear it getting a little raspy. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I can hear it detonating a little bit.
Yeah, picking it up.
A little bit of pinging.
Still producing some good smoke though.
Yeah, but again, smoke is a good guideline. It gets you roughly in the ballpark, but what it comes down to is your ear. Your ear is your best friend. So anyway, I know this motor's a little bit too lean on the high end now, so I'm gonna go rich it back up. But
so the point of this is, just because you're getting smoke doesn't mean it's tuned right.
that's right. All right, so the idea here is we want consistent smoke when the motor's loaded and when the motor's unloaded. So what we're gonna do now that we know the high end, the needle that controls overall fuel flow to the whole entire carburetor, we now know that that's close, so now we get to tune the transition, which is the middle needle.
Okay.
And to do that, I got a couple different methods I've developed for my own stuff, you know, but here for just generally speaking, I'm going to show you what we do there.
Yeah, for guys that can't do wild maneuvers, you know.
Okay, well then here we're going to go. This is basic. This is, you know, most anyone can do this. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to climb out, get it on the high needle, then I'm just going to go neutral collective.
So zero pitch.
And watch the smoke.
Unload the head. Yeah, really smoke there in the middle.
Right, let me get it closer to the camera here. We'll do the same thing. We'll go up and then go neutral. You see how it just puffed out smoke out of it?
Yeah, it's kicking out a lot.
It's nice and thin right there, and then I let go, and you see it right there.
Yep.
Big puff.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now we're too rich.
So the idea there is you wanted to unload the head, so you're in the middle needle, so you're basically at zero pitch, no load. Kelly's kind of dropping. You see that big puff, right?
Right. Exactly.
Cool. So now you're gonna go lean up the mid.
Yes. And it's an experience thing too, but I know the thing's quite rich right now, so I just went 4 clicks on the mid-range.
Okay.
So. Same test. Getting better.
Yeah, getting better, yep. A lot less smoke. It wasn't surrounded by a cloud like before.
It's still puffing a little bit.
Yeah, yep, still is.
So,
Still
we
is.
know where this is. Now we got to do the same thing again with the mid-range we did with the high. We got to start rich, find lean, and then back off a little bit.
Okay.
And that's going to be where your sweet spot is.
Cool.
You hear it cackle a little bit?
Yeah, and the high's a little leaner now too.
See, now the reason now you're wondering, but I already tuned the high. Why is it that it's cackling now when I'm on the full needle? Well, the reason is because initially the mid-range was so rich that
it was screwing with the high.
well, what it is, the motor's full of fuel, so you don't give it enough time. Like another instance of tuning a high needle would be like a big hurricane, do several revolutions at full throttle. You got to clean the motor out to do the high end, but you know, right now what we're showing is the motor is overall lean, but the needles are fairly in sync. Now I can get away with just opening the high up a little bit more, which is going to feed the middle pretty well too, and we're going to be close to a baseline tuning.
All right, so I understand what was happening was the mid was so rich that even though you tuned the high, when you'd come back in that mid-range, the motor would fill up with fuel.
Yes.
So it was making you believe that the high was tuned when in fact, now that you're getting the mid-tuned, the high is getting out of sync.
That's exactly right. The two needles are just what I like to call out of sync. You know, they're out of phase.
Yeah, out of phase, yeah.
So now we're going to go back and we're going to richen the high back up. And that's, you know, this is basic tuning. I'm going to show you here a little bit the way I do my personal tuning procedure.
Your fine tuning.
Yeah, when you're looking for that very edge of power. But that process we just showed there should get you in the ballpark. You know, it's going to get you to where you have a pretty happy running motor, and you're not going to risk blowing it up. You know?
Sure.
So anyway.
Cool.
All right. So now what we've done, I left the mid-range alone, and we've richened the high needle, which is going to, you know, give more fuel to the motor all throughout.
So do you need to pump it a few times to make sure it's cleaned out for final checking the high, you know?
Well, let's try this again. It sounds good again. We'll unload it. It doesn't really go too puffy rich.
Yeah.
If you really want to do the high, this is how you do the high. You got to do a hurricane. This is my most comfortable orientation. This is the one I generally do. You want the collective stick to be full bore right now.
On the high needle, full power.
Stick.
Yep.
Get around here, do several revolutions. And I don't know if you can hear it in the camera, but you can hear this motor right now. It's singing along pretty good, and it's not loading up. As heat gets drawn in, like for instance, this thing's totally on the high needle right now.
Yep.
Mid-range is doing nothing. This is high needle. So now that we've got that, now we can come back in. The motor's warm. Now we quickly go into climb out, let it sit. You see how it doesn't really...
I mean, there's a little puff because it's sitting in its own smoke, so don't let that fool you.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
Again, this is just basic stuff, but...
because you can see it's kind of consistent on the smoke.
Right. Now we're almost out of fuel, so we're about done tuning here because we're so rich, this thing's not getting much flight time at all. But I tune the high basically at a hurricane, but I'll do the mid-range on something like this.
And what are you looking for there?
What I'm looking for there, you can see it kind of went lean on me. With guys who have aggressive styles and guys who never really give the motor a break while you're flying, generally speaking, you got to run a richer mid-range because you're calling for more fuel.
Yeah.
You know, power.
So after doing that, you would have richened the mid a little bit then, huh? After doing that, you would have richened the mid a little bit?
It's lean right now in the mid-range, but how about we fill it up with fuel and I'll show you what I do personally.
Okay, cool.
All right.